Okay, let's dive in. You see them everywhere now, don't you? Those amazing food trucks, little stalls popping up, the smells. Oh, man.
Definitely. Street food's just completely blown up.
Right. It's gone from like just a quick hot dog stand to this whole foodie scene. People actually hunt these places down. You feel that buzz, that sense of opportunity.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And it's interesting how it's changed. It used to be maybe more about feeding workers, late shifts, really practical stuff.
Yeah.
But now, like the sources show, they're often super innovative, really pushing boundaries, sometimes even giving fancy restaurants a run for their money.
Mhm.
It's easy to see why people get excited about starting one.
Totally. So today, we're going to really unpack this. We've got some great source material here, guides that map out the steps, the cool possibilities, but also, importantly, the pitfalls.
Yeah, the key bits.
Exactly. So our job is to pull out the really crucial stuff, the need-to-knows, to give you a clear picture of what it really takes, straight from the material we've looked at.
Right. Take that initial dream and, well, ground it in what the sources actually say,
Mm.
the practical side.
Okay, so first up, that appeal, that dream versus the actual, like, day-to-day grind. Why does it look so good on paper?
Well, the big one, the main thing the sources highlight is cost. Significantly lower startup costs compared to a brick-and-mortar restaurant. That's huge.
Massive barrier removed, yeah. And then there's the whole be your own boss thing, the flexibility, maybe needing a bit less formal restaurant background. It feels very trendy.
And you see these amazing success stories in the sources, right? Like the halal guys. Started as a cart in New York, now they're everywhere. Actual restaurant.
Or Canteen California in Paris. Food truck first, then a proper restaurant. And Meat Liquor in London from a van to, what, multiple places now?
Yeah, it shows the potential. It can be a launch pad for something much bigger.
And this is but from the sources, you can't just look at those success stories. It's incredibly hard work.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Especially in the start. Money's tight, cash flow's everything.
Yeah. The sources really hammer this home. Expects long hours, early mornings, late nights, weekends. It's relentless.
Being self-employed isn't for everyone, and it's apparently quite easy to make expensive mistakes early on. That's a clear warning.
Plus, it's crowded out there now, isn't it? Popularity means competition.
Definitely. And trends change, right? What's hot today might not be tomorrow. Plus, the practical stuff, your truck breaks down, stuck in traffic. Big problems.
Oh, for sure. And the regulations. The sources mention that a lot. It's not simple. And it's not just cooking. You have to be good with people. Customer service is massive.
And things you can't control, like the weather. A rainy day can just kill your business if you're outdoors. Finding a good spot, a reliable pitch, that can be a constant battle too.
Right. One source sort of sums it up nicely, contrasts the flexibility and the lower costs with the reality of long hours and navigating all the rules, the zoning laws.
The takeaway is clear. Weigh it all up, the
Yeah.
good and the bad. Be realistic before you jump in.
Okay, so assuming you've done that reality check, the sources say the absolute first step is research, market research.
Non-negotiable. You need to figure out the who, what, where, why, when for your idea. Don't just guess.
So what kind of things do you have to research according to the material?
Well, understanding your own reasons, your goals. Who are your customers? Really drill down into demographics. When will you trade? Where? Finding good locations, understanding foot traffic, busy times.
Logistics too, right? Legal stuff.
Absolutely. What licenses, what permits, what insurance do you need? What's the competition doing? Who are they? What do they offer? Are you renting or buying your truck or stall? How will bad weather hit you? It's about knowing the whole playing field.
Gotcha. It's not just, is there a gap for tacos? It's
Yeah.
the whole ecosystem.
Exactly. And then based on that research, you develop your concept. The sources suggest combining your passion with what people actually seem to want in that area,
And that includes the name, the logo.
which are critical, the sources stress.
Mm-hmm.
Needs to be unique, easy to remember, maybe hint at what you sell, grab attention. It needs a voice, something that reflects you, but also something that can grow if you expand later.
Right, your brand identity from day one. Okay, now, arguably the most important piece of paper you'll create, the business plan.
Essential. Both sources are really clear on this. It's your roadmap, your focus tool. And yeah, it helps if you need loans, but it's mainly for you.
Does it have to be like 100 pages long?
No, one source makes a good point. It doesn't need to be super complex, but you absolutely need one.
And what are the must-haves in it? What do the sources say needs to be covered?
Okay, so basic business details, obviously. Who's running it?
Mm-hmm.
A clear mission statement. What's your core purpose? details about your truck or stall, the costs involved there, all your startup costs, don't forget insurance,
Mhm.
training, then your day-to-day running costs, ingredients, gas, pitch fees, whatever. Where's the money coming from? And crucially, financial projections, profit and loss, cash flow, maybe even a 5-year forecast, one source suggests.
Whoa.
Plus, are you doing it full-time? Part-time? How do you compare to competitors? What's your marketing plan? And the nitty-gritty logistics, deliveries, customer service, insurance again?
That's thorough. A proper blueprint before you even think about buying the first spatula. Which leads nicely into the money side. Funding. Often the biggest hurdle.
Yeah, getting the cash could be really tough. The sources mention the usual routes. Using your own savings, risky. They note bank loans, finding a partner with money.
But one source really opened my eyes here. It lists a whole load of other options, especially for small businesses like this.
Oh yeah, like what?
Things like community sponsors, finding personal investors, maybe friends, family crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter, government-backed microloans like from the SBA in the US, even using retirement funds, something called ROBS.
Rolling over retirement funds.
Yeah, Chester.
Yeah.
And business credit cards, specific loans just for equipment.
So it's not just about persuading the bank manager then. There's actually quite a range of possibilities. That's a key point.
Definitely. And one big advantage, financially speaking, that the sources keep mentioning, a truck or stall is just way cheaper than renting or buying restaurant space.
Huge difference. Cost-wise, the sources give different ballpark figures. Obviously, depends where you are and what you're buying. One, using pounds, suggests maybe under 5K for a basic used trailer, but easily 50-pound K plus for a big new custom job.
And the other source, using dollars, gives a wider range, average maybe 70K to 130K for a truck, but it could be as low as $10 or, way up over 250K for something really high spec.
So big variations. But regardless of the exact figure, the sources agree on some crucial financial advice. Don't expect to pay yourself a decent salary right away.
Right. Save up living expenses first.
Yeah, they recommend having at least 6 to 12 months of living costs saved. And really importantly, think about what happens if it doesn't work out. Have a plan B so you're not completely blindsided if the worst happens.
That's sobering, but essential advice. Okay, money sorted. Plan B in mind. Let's talk red tape. Licenses, permits, safety stuff. The not-so-fun part.
Yeah. And the sources are really, really clear here. This stuff is vital. And it varies massively by location. Massively.
State to state, city to city.
Even different rules within the same city sometimes. You absolutely have to check with your local authorities. There's no single answer.
Okay, so no definitive checklist. But what kind of permits and licenses do the sources say you'll likely encounter?
Generally, you'll need some kind of basic business license. Then, critically, a food service permit or food hygiene certificate proof you handle food safely.
And if you have staff.
Then you'll probably need an employer ID number for taxes, maybe specific health permits for each employee.
And it gets more specific for mobile businesses, right? Legalization stuff.
Yes, exactly. This is where you need to dig deep locally. Zoning permits where can you actually park and sell? Parking permits are there restrictions. Can you park overnight? You might need to talk to the health department, the DMV, the city council, multiple places.
It's like layers of bureaucracy.
Pretty much. One source, focusing on the UK, mentions registering with environmental health before trading, getting inspected, needing a specific street trading license from the council to sell on public roads. Failing to get that can mean hefty fines.
Wow. Okay, so permits are complex. What about insurance and safety?
Crucial. Public liability insurance? What if someone trips near your truck? Product liability? What if someone gets sick from your food? If you have employees, employers' liability is often legally required.
And the vehicle itself.
Needs inspecting, too, often. Gas equipment usually needs an annual check by a certified engineer. Electrical systems need testing regularly. It's all about documented safety.
And the foundation for all that food safety is training.
Absolutely. Food hygiene training. The sources say taking a proper course is the easiest way to show you know what you're doing. Safe temperatures, cleaning, avoiding cross-contamination. The big message here is, don't mess around with the rules. Do your research properly.
Lots to get right there. Okay, assuming you're navigating the paperwork, time for the fun bit. The actual truck, the stall, the equipment.
Yeah, choosing your setup. The sources say your location and menu should guide this. Is a small cart enough? Do you need a full van? A trailer? Buying? Leasing? New? Used? Custom built?
And it needs to actually work right. Practically.
Yeah, is it big enough? Is the layout logical for how you'll cook and serve? Enough storage? space for prep, and remember, as one source said, the vehicle itself is probably your biggest single expense.
And keeping it running.
Maintenance. What happens when it breaks down? Got a mechanic. And vehicle insurance, of course.
Okay, and kitting it out inside. The sources list tons of stuff, but what are the essential types of equipment?
They break it down logically. You need cooking gear, grills, fryers, ovens, whatever fits your menu. Warming and holding stuff, keeping food safe and hot. Prep stuff, surfaces, knives, boards, serving items, plates, cutlery, packaging. Refrigeration is key, fridges, maybe freezers. And cleaning kit sinks, often separate ones needed for hands and washing up. Waste bins, cleaning supplies, maybe a grease trap. Plus essentials like water heaters, water tanks, extractor fans, lights, fire safety gear.
Phew. Sounds like a mini kitchen on wheels. Okay, you've got the concept, the plan, the funding, you're tackling the rules, the truck's almost ready. How do you get people to actually come, especially when you might be moving around?
Marketing.
Mm.
Both sources say it's absolutely vital. You can't just sit there and hope people wander by.
So what kind of marketing works for street food, according to the material?
A real mix. Old school stuff like press releases or local articles can work. Word of mouth is huge, obviously. Giving out samples always helps.
Branding is important too, you mentioned.
Definitely. Your logo on everything, cards, signs, packaging. A website is pretty much essential now so people can find your schedule, your locations. And social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are called out as brilliant, often free tools for mobile businesses. Here's where we are today.
Makes sense.
Leaflets too. And one source highlights having a really clear, easy-to-read menu board. People decide quickly.
And you can use the fact you're mobile as part of the marketing.
For sure. Go to different places, build buzz. Get into community events, food festivals, maybe cater private parties. That gets your food tasted by lots of different people. Selling some merch like t-shirts or hats can boost the brand too.
And taking payment. That came up.
Yeah, POS systems, point of sale. Cash only really limits you now. You need something that takes cards easily. Mobile systems that run on a tablet or phone are ideal. Some even let people order ahead. Makes things smoother.
Okay, which leads to the final, really crucial point the sources make, customer service.
Huge. Especially if you move around. Repeat business, word of mouth,
That is
gold. And the sources stress that this is like the whole experience, not just the food, though the food has to be great, obviously.
how you treat people matters.
Massively. Smiling, being friendly, maybe going the extra mile, that creates a good vibe, a positive memory.
Mhm.
And people are apparently more likely to talk about bad experiences than good ones. Every interaction counts.
Damage limitation, almost.
Kind of. And one source suggests things like loyalty cards or little perks for regulars. Actively encourage people to come back. Make them feel valued.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground there, pulling from these sources. From that initial spark, the dream, through the tough reality checks, the planning, the money, the complex rules, setting up shop, and finally, actually finding and keeping customers.
Yeah, it's really clear from the material we looked at. It's a complicated business to start, needs a lot of planning, serious investment, and just plain hard work. But these sources, they do provide a pretty solid roadmap covering the key things you need to think about.
They really do. And it leaves you with a final thought, doesn't it? Given how mobile street food is, how does that need for repeat business, which often relies on being in the same place, building relationships, actually square with the fact that trucks often move around? What does customer loyalty even mean in that context? And how do the really successful ones build it beyond just having killer food, something to chew on?